Restaurants use a process called proofing. So what I'd like to be able to do would be to make 3 different types of bread in one rainy Sunday, freeze them into small loaves, and the day before pull them out of the freezer or even rolls, and then cook them the next day. Is that something that would be reasonable?
Yeah, you can make bread dough, let it rise, punch it down or press it down, shape it, and then wrap it and freeze it. And then when you want, let it thaw overnight in the fridge. Let it rise on the counter until it doubles in size, which will take a while, of course, because it's cold. And then bake it.
And they do make, you can find those little mini loaf pans. So that would be sort of a fun thing to use.
I never spent much time on bread because we have a lot of great bakeries, and baking never seemed to be worth my investment in time and experimentation. So now I think I will need to do that.
Well, it sounds like you have fun in the kitchen. Why not try this new thing?
Oh, I do. I enjoy it, and it's a hobby, and it's also, like I said, controlling what I eat.
Well, you're smart about that. You are. That's a good thing to do. I think you'll have fun with this project.
Do you have any, would all breads work about the same? Freeze them and then pull them out? Or would you think there'd be certain breads that would be, ideally, I'd like a nice whole wheat.
Yeah, I think they're fine.
Bread.
The only breads high hydration breads that have very high percentage of water.
Like the no-knead bread.
Yeah, no-knead bread would be one of those. Ciabatta, some of the Italian breads. But I think that, a typical American bread, loaf bread, rustic bread would be fine. Yeah.
Me too, I agree.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thanks,
okay, Peter.
Yeah, pleasure.
Yeah.
This is Mill Street Radio. If you want Sarah and I to solve your great kitchen mysteries, give us a ring, 855-426-9843. One more time, 855-426-9843, or email us at questions@millstreetradio.com. Welcome to Milk Street. Who's calling?
Hi, it's Helen.
Hi, Helen. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Orcas Island, Washington.
That is one of the most beautiful places. It looks like Vermont to me. Mm-hmm. It has farms and rolling hills, and it's.
Yes.
I'm jealous. Anyway, so how can we help you in the kitchen?
I am wondering how the baking strips that you soak and put around your pan work. How does it keep a cake level?
Well, what it really does is avoids the outside of the cake overcooking, as the evaporation cools the outside. So cakes tend to cook from the outside in, and so the metal heats up and the outside of the cake rises and sets before the inside. So it'll give you a more level cake because the outside's not going to rise faster than the center, and you'll end up with a more even cake. I've used them, actually.
I've never used them. I've never even heard of them.
What?
Yeah. I'm like, oh, my goodness. I got to this ripe old age, and I don't.
It's like a 60s, 70s thing. Yeah, no, I've used them. They were pretty well.
Where do you buy them?
You can Wilton Cake Decorating, I think, has them.
I have to help the people like me who just have never heard of this.
There's a place, it's just open, called Amazon. You can, ouch.
Wilton Cake Decorating, I'm going
But anyway,
there.
it evaporates and that cools down the outside.
That makes sense.
Very often when people have cake problems, the center rises more slowly, the outside rises and sets, and the center just never rises as high.
Right.
So anyway, they do work. Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Helen.
Our pleasure. Thank you, Helen.
Right.
Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Welcome to Milk Street. Who's calling?
This is Elizabeth Huber from Houston, Texas, a longtime fan of both of you. And I'm calling about soup. Anytime I see either of you cooking, you have these brilliant broths. And so I was making homemade pho.
Wow. Elizabeth, do you want to pause for a second and tell everybody who doesn't know what that is? It's spelled P-H-O.
It's the basic soup of Vietnam. So anyway, I'm making homemade beef stock. So I've got my beef shank, and I've browned it, and I've got my pot with the knuckles in it that's going to have the gelatin and the shank for the flavor, 2 pots, so that when I shred it out, liquid goes here, bones go get ready for the dog next door, soup, shredded meat. There's got to be something more brilliant than just putting that beef on a salad or on a sandwich to do with this yummy shank meat.
Yeah, besides fajitas, tacos, pitas, flatbreads, all the usual things. One thing I do, I often cook sort of the pot au feu. I'll take a roast, a shoulder roast, and cook it for 3 or 4 hours. And that's a good Sunday thing to do, and then you have leftover meat. Yeah, I make a quick tomato sauce, skillet tomato sauce, and put that meat in towards the end and use that as a sauce on pasta.
Yeah, that would be
high
yummy.
on my list of things to do
Right.
with it. That's just absolutely delicious. It's quite different. I like serving that meat. You did mention a salad, but I like to slice onions, cut them in half pole to pole, obviously peel them, and then slice them thinly and let them sit in vinegar or wine or even hot water for 15 minutes to take the bite out. And I find that really rich meat with those onions, it's just a wonderful combination. And you can make all sorts of salads with that. And as I said, fajitas, tacos, etc. I mean, Sarah?
I have an idea. Of course, I'm going to take it a European route, which is to turn it into rillette. Do you know what rillette is?
No.
It's, in Southwest France, they take shredded duck or goose and they combine it with goose or duck fat and garlic and thyme, and they shred it and they just put it on like toasted bread, and it's absolutely delicious.
There's another way to think about this. In most places in the world, meat's a flavoring. It's not the main thing. And so if you're talking about a rice bowl with a topping,
Fried
if you're talking
rice.
about a pot of beans, if you're talking about a soup, I often use meat as an element, but not the main element. So you have very rich meat. And so you could add that to almost anything as just another element.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Even a stir-fried rice, you could add meat to it.
Just throw it in.
Elizabeth, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
And Sarah and Chris, I've watched both of you since the beginning of either of you being on television.
Well, thank you.
I know how long that is. I've adored you that long.
I think it's pre-Mesozoic at this
Yes,
point.
yes. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Okay, bye-bye.
This is Mill Street Radio. I'm Christopher Kimball. Up next, my interview with musician John Carter Cash about his new book, The Cash and Carter Family Cookbook. We'll be right back. This holiday, you might consider giving the gift of good nutrition, and Bob's Red Mill gift packs are a great place to start. Choose between their breakfast and lunch pack, which includes Scottish oatmeal, pancake, and waffle mix, their veggie soup and cornbread mix, or their gluten-free pack that includes their mighty tasty hot cereal. You can create your own pack, just purchase a gift card, and then select the assortment you want. It's quick, easy, delicious, and of course, nutritious. Go to bobsredmill.com for more information. Free-range, organic, grass-fed. If that's what you want from the meat you serve your family, let me make a suggestion. Butcher Box. They deliver healthy, 100% grass-fed and finished beef, free-range organic chicken, and heritage breed pork directly to your door on a monthly basis. No antibiotics and no hormones. Now, I just tasted their sausage, the filet, and also the bacon. It has the great texture of grain-fed, but with a delicious flavor of grass-fed. They also make available my favorite hard-to-find cuts, including skirt and flat iron steaks. By the way, they offer free shipping anywhere in the 48 states, and you can cancel easily at any time. Here's what you need to know. From now until December 1st, new subscribers will receive free bacon for life plus $20 off by going to butcherbox.com/milkstreet. Anyone who signs up before December 1st will get $20 off their first box, plus a free package of high-quality bacon in every Butcher Box they order for the lifetime of their subscription. Go to butcherbox.com/milkstreet. This is Mill Street Radio. I'm Christopher Kimball. John Carter Cash was born into country music royalty. His parents are June Carter and Johnny Cash. But his roots go deeper. His grandmother, Maybelle Carter, was the queen mother of country music. In 1927, she launched a musical dynasty, the Carter family, when she started recording folk songs with her cousin Sarah and Sarah's husband, A.P. Carter. John Carter, how are you?
I'm doing very well. I'm here in Hendersonville, Tennessee at the Cash Cabin Studio. This was just, a log cabin in the woods for years until it was turned into a state-of-the-art recording studio by my father back in the early 1990s. And now at this time, we've recorded thousands of songs here through the years. But anyway, this is home to me. It is. And, my parents' house is just through the woods. The ruin anyway, the house burned down.
Yeah, I have to say this is a big interview for me because I'm a huge fan of the Carter family music, and I actually play some of it, and I used to play with a frail banjo player, and Of course, Johnny Cash. So let's start. We'll get to food, but I have a bunch of questions for you about music. If we could start there. So the famous Carter songs, "Keep on the Sunny Side," "Circle Be Unbroken," etc. Are those songs that were all part of sort of this repertoire of music that was common at the time? And how do those songs relate to this old timey fiddle songs like "Lizard in the Spring" or "Sugar Hill"? Are there two distinctly different kinds of songs?
You're talking my language now. There are. The Carter family repertoire, most certainly. I mean, the copyright laws changed, and Ralph Peer was looking to take advantage of that and find a lot of songs in the mountains. And A.P. Carter had listened to a lot of music for a long time, and he'd written things, but he was a novice musician, but his wife and her first cousin Maybelle were wonderful, Appalachian players. And he heard that there was going to be a recording in Bristol, and they were paying $50 a song, and that was a fortune back then. And so he went, and they recorded the first songs there in August of 1927. One of them was, "Bury Me Beneath the Willow." Right. But your comparison is interesting because there's such a wealth of material. I mean, the Carter family, of course, AP did write things, but he was a master editor, and they were down to, song has to be 2 minutes and so many seconds long, and it can't be any longer than that. And, so AP would figure out how many verses would fit in. I mean, songs like "Sinking in the Lonesome Sea," Norman Blake explained to me about that song, and it was. I said, "What is that song?" He said, "Well, it's really the Merry Golden Tree, and it's an old English folk ballad about fighting the Turkish revelry." So there was the variations, and then some of those melodies, of course. I believe if the Carter family hadn't recorded "Little Darling Pal of Mine," we may have never had, "This Land Is Your Land." But, so much of it had to do with Leslie Riddle, who was a guitar player, who was a friend of A.P. Carter's. He was a black man, and he taught Maybelle a lot of guitar, taught her how to play blues. And, it's like Cannonball Blues is probably written by Leslie Riddle.
Really?
A.P. would go into a house and someone that knew a lot of songs, and he would sit there and write. He would write out all the lyrics. Leslie Riddle would always be with him. Leslie didn't write, but he had a perfect memory. He never forgot a melody. So those two guys together had a lot to do with the Carter family's repertoire. All that being said, the combination of, the blues tones and Maybelle listening to the Mexican mariachi band and figuring out "You Are My Flower" and these different things, they combined to make, Appalachian music, the Carter family's music. But, country music was what they were listening to it in Seattle with the Carter family hour, and they were listening to it in New York City, and they were listening to it in Los Angeles. And it's just amazing that there's so many different people that were influenced by the Carter family's music. I mean, Bill Monroe, Johnny Cash. I absolutely love the Carter family, and I'm a proponent also for some of the less sung heroes of country music, and I think Leslie Riddle's one of them.
Maybelle grew up. I love this notion of poor valley because the dirt wasn't very good. Yeah. But wasn't there also a rich valley nearby? Sort of two valleys, one poor, one rich. Is that true or not?
Well, maybe not rich people that live there, but the north side of the mountain just has better soil up around the other side of the mountain.
And when you say the mountain, you mean Clinch Mountain? Is that right?
Clinch Mountain, yeah. But A.P. Carter, he was selling fruit trees, and he went across that mountain, and it's a heck of a mountain to climb. It is, but he climbed that mountain. He went down the other side, and I don't remember the story exactly, but he heard a voice singing, and that was a young teenage Sarah Carter on the front porch.
Really?
Yep, and that's how they met.
Huh.
And they married early. They married in the teens, and A.P.'s younger brother was Ezra, And so AP asked Sarah, hey, do you have any friends or cousins? And yeah, here's Maybelle. And so that's how my grandfather